The story of the Panama Canal is not just one of ambition and vision, it is also a story of human endurance and the relentless battle against nature itself. When the United States assumed control of the project in 1904, the scale of the challenge became immediately apparent. Engineers were faced with a landscape unlike any they had ever encountered: dense tropical jungles teeming with insects, rivers that swelled unpredictably during the rainy season, and mountains and swamps that seemed insurmountable. The land itself resisted every attempt to be reshaped, and early attempts by the French had already shown that even the most skilled engineers could be overwhelmed by the relentless forces of nature. The question was not just how to build a canal, but whether it could be built at all. Every step forward required extraordinary innovation, careful planning, and an unyielding will to overcome impossible odds. One of the most formidable obstacles was the deadly diseases that plagued workers. Yellow fever and malaria were rampant in the region, and in the early years of the project, thousands of laborers succumbed to these illnesses. The human cost was staggering, and morale was often as fragile as the fragile wooden shanties in which the workers lived. It was not until Dr. William Gorgas implemented strict sanitation programs draining standing water, fumigating homes, and controlling mosquito populations that the health crisis began to abate. These measures dramatically reduced mortality rates and allowed the workforce to focus on the enormous task ahead. The battle against disease was as critical to the canal's success as the excavation of rock and soil, and it underscored the reality that the environment itself was one of the project's greatest adversaries. Beyond disease, the geography of Panama posed unprecedented engineering challenges. The Continental Divide, a rugged chain of hills and mountains, had to be carved through to create a navigable waterway. Millions of cubic meters of rock and soil had to be excavated, and this had to be done without the modern machinery and technology we take for granted today. Massive steam shovels, dynamite, and hand labor were employed in staggering quantities, but progress was slow, and the risk of landslides and flooding was ever present. Rivers that needed to be diverted constantly threatened to wash away carefully constructed channels, and torrential rains often forced work to halt entirely. Every inch gained was a victory over a natural environment that seemed determined to reclaim the land it had held for millennia. The construction of the locks was another monumental challenge. Unlike the Suez Canal, which had been built at sea level, Panama's varying elevation required a series of locks to raise and lower ships over the hills and through the rivers. Engineers had to design and construct massive concrete structures, gates, and chambers capable of withstanding enormous pressure and repeated use. The locks themselves became symbols of human ingenuity. Every design decision was scrutinized, every error potentially catastrophic. Teams of engineers and laborers worked in perfect coordination to ensure that water flow, structural integrity, and mechanical operation all functioned seamlessly. It was an undertaking that combined the precision of modern science with the brute force of human labor. Labor itself was a challenge that demanded careful management. The workforce was diverse, drawn from the Caribbean, Europe, the United States, and Asia, creating a melting pot of cultures, languages, and skills. Coordinating tens of thousands of workers, providing housing, food, and medical care, and maintaining morale under grueling conditions was a logistical feat of its own. Conflicts occasionally erupted, accidents were frequent, and the physical and mental strain on the workers was immense. Yet despite the hardships, the laborers persevered, driven by the promise of wages, the prestige of the project, and the hope of contributing to a world-changing achievement. Their toil formed the backbone of the canal, a human foundation that rivaled the engineering marvels above ground. Weather and climate added another layer of difficulty. Panama's tropical climate is characterized by heavy rainfall, high humidity, and extreme heat, all of which complicated construction. Rainfall could reach several inches in a single day, turning excavation sites into muddy quagmires and causing landslides that buried equipment and workers alike. Heat and humidity led to exhaustion and increased the spread of disease, while the ever-present tropical storms threatened to destroy weeks of painstaking labor. Engineers and workers had to adapt constantly, developing drainage systems, temporary shelters, and new work schedules to mitigate the effects of the environment. Nature, in its rawest form, was an adversary that required ingenuity, patience, and respect. One of the most impressive aspects of the canal's construction was the integration of multiple complex systems. The creation of Gatun Lake, for instance, involved damming the Chagres River, controlling water levels, and ensuring a stable supply for the locks. This massive artificial lake not only served as a reservoir for canal operations, but also required careful ecological and hydrological planning to prevent flooding or catastrophic failure. Every element of the canal, from locks to dams to channels, had to work in concert. A single miscalculation could delay progress, endanger lives, or threaten the project's overall viability. The successful coordination of these systems remains one of the greatest achievements in civil engineering history. Despite the enormous challenges, progress continued, driven by a combination of innovation, leadership, and sheer human determination. Leaders like Chief Engineer John Stevens implemented groundbreaking organizational and engineering strategies, while laborers endured conditions that would have defeated less determined men. Each completed lock, each cleared section of earth, was a triumph over adversity, a testament to the extraordinary collaboration between human intellect and physical labor. The canal gradually transformed from an audacious dream into a tangible reality, piece by painstaking piece. The construction of the Panama Canal stands as a story of perseverance in the face of overwhelming obstacles. Disease, climate, terrain, and labor challenges all threatened to derail the project, yet through innovation, discipline, and unyielding resolve, engineers and workers overcame these hurdles. It is a tale of human will triumphing over nature, of ingenuity meeting adversity, and of a vision so bold that it reshaped the world. The Panama Canal would not simply be a waterway, it would be a monument to human achievement, a symbol of what could be accomplished when courage, knowledge, and perseverance were applied on an unprecedented scale. The Panama Canal is not just an engineering marvel. It is a linchpin of global power, a narrow stretch of water that has dictated the flow of commerce, influenced the outcome of wars, and shaped international relations for more than a century. Its strategic importance stems from its unique position as the shortest maritime link between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. For countries that rely on trade, naval mobility, and geopolitical influence, controlling or even just having access to the canal can confer enormous advantages. From the moment it opened in 1914, the canal became far more than a commercial passage. It became a symbol of power, a strategic asset, and a point of contention among nations with global ambitions. During the World Wars, the canal's importance was immediately evident. In World War I, the United States recognized that the canal could serve as a critical route for moving naval vessels and supplies between oceans. The ability to quickly redeploy warships from the Atlantic to the Pacific or vice versa provided a strategic advantage that no other waterway in the world could match. The Panama Canal allowed the U.S. to respond rapidly to threats, protect trade routes, and maintain naval dominance across two oceans simultaneously. Its significance was not limited to the American military. Allies and adversaries alike understood that any attempt to disrupt or control the canal could dramatically alter the balance of power in global conflict. In World War II, the canal's strategic value became even more pronounced. Japanese expansion in the Pacific and German U-boat activity in the Atlantic highlighted the need for secure, rapid transit between oceans. The United States fortified the canal zone, stationed troops, and implemented stringent security measures to ensure that the canal would remain open and operational. Every ship that passed through its locks during the war was a vital link in the supply chain, demonstrating that control of the canal could have direct consequences on the outcome of global conflicts. The waterway was more than infrastructure. It was a strategic lifeline, an artery that carried the weight of nations' ambitions and survival. Beyond the world wars, the canal has remained a focal point of geopolitical tension. Its very existence places Panama at the crossroads of global power, and the nations that depend on it for trade or military mobility have a vested interest in its security. Throughout the 20th century, various countries watched closely as the United States exercised control over the canal, recognizing that the nation's influence in Latin America and beyond was reinforced by this strategic asset. The canal became a symbol of American dominance in the Western Hemisphere, a tangible demonstration of the nation's ability to project power and shape global affairs. At the same time, it provoked resentment and suspicion among other countries that viewed control of the canal as an extension of U.S. influence, raising questions of sovereignty and regional autonomy. Latin American nations, particularly Panama, have long sought to assert their rights over the canal and reduce foreign control. The presence of U.S. military forces and administrative authority in the canal zone was often seen as a violation of national sovereignty, sparking protests, diplomatic disputes, and political negotiations. The tension reached its peak in the latter half of the 20th century, culminating in the Torrijos-Carter Treaties of 1977. These agreements established a timetable for transferring full control of the canal to Panama by the end of 1999, ensuring that the waterway would be managed by the nation in which it physically exists. The treaties represented a delicate balancing act. They preserved the canal's global function while addressing long-standing sovereignty concerns, demonstrating how deeply intertwined the canal's operation is with international diplomacy. The canal's strategic importance extends beyond politics and military considerations. It also serves as a vital economic choke point. Nearly 15% of global maritime trade passes through the Panama Canal, including petroleum, grains, manufactured goods, and container shipments. Any disruption, whether through natural disaster, political unrest, or military conflict, can have cascading effects on global supply chains. Nations recognize that access to the canal is not just a matter of convenience, it is a critical component of economic stability and national security. The waterway is a linchpin in the global trading system, and its importance ensures that it will always be a subject of strategic interest and, at times, tension. Even in the modern era, the canal continues to attract international attention. The expansion of the waterway in 2016, which allowed larger post-Panamax vessels to transit, further enhanced its strategic value. Nations that engage in global trade now rely on the canal for faster, more efficient shipping, reinforcing its role as a vital economic and military artery. At the same time, emerging powers watch closely, understanding that the canal remains a point of leverage in global geopolitics. Its ability to shape maritime strategy, trade routes, and diplomatic negotiations ensures that it will remain central to discussions of international influence for decades to come. The Panama Canal also illustrates how infrastructure can shape the balance of power in ways that extend beyond borders. The ability to move goods and military assets rapidly across oceans changes the calculus of diplomacy, commerce, and security. It exemplifies how geography, when combined with engineering ingenuity, can become a strategic asset of unparalleled significance. The canal's existence forces nations to consider its influence in trade agreements, naval planning, and geopolitical strategy, proving that even a single waterway can have global consequences. In this sense, the canal is both a marvel of human engineering and a pivot point in the complex chessboard of international relations. Ultimately, the strategic importance of the Panama Canal lies in its dual role as an engineering achievement and a geopolitical lever. Its locks, lakes, and channels facilitate the movement of goods and ships, while its very existence influences the decisions of governments and the calculations of global powers. Control of the canal or even reliable access to it affects economic growth, military readiness, and diplomatic leverage. From the World Wars to the Cold War, from trade disputes to sovereignty negotiations, the canal has been at the center of international attention, a narrow waterway whose impact has been anything but small. It is a reminder that engineering, politics, and power are often inseparable, and that a single human-made structure can shape the course of history on a global scale. The Panama Canal, in essence, is a mirror of the modern world itself, a place where technology meets strategy, commerce meets diplomacy, and human ambition meets natural geography. Its strategic importance has made it a prize, a target, and a symbol for generations. Understanding the tensions and conflicts surrounding the canal is essential to appreciating its broader significance. It is not just a passage for ships, but a keystone of global influence, an enduring testament to the idea that control over vital infrastructure can define the fortunes of nations and the trajectory of history. Today, the Panama Canal stands not only as a historical achievement but as a critical artery of global commerce, connecting continents and shaping international trade in ways that were unimaginable a century ago. Under Panamanian control since the end of 1999, the canal has become a symbol of national pride, sovereignty, and technological mastery. The transfer of authority marked a pivotal moment, ending decades of foreign control and enabling Panama to manage one of the most important waterways in the world. Today, it operates with efficiency and sophistication, handling thousands of transits each year and facilitating the flow of goods that sustain global economies. From petroleum and grain to manufactured goods and consumer products, nearly 15% of all maritime trade passes through this narrow yet indispensable corridor, underscoring its enduring relevance. The canal's modern operation relies on a combination of advanced engineering, meticulous management, and cutting-edge technology. Ships that pass through the locks are guided by highly trained canal pilots who ensure safe and efficient navigation through the complex system of chambers, dams, and artificial lakes. Tugboats assist in maneuvering, and computerized monitoring systems coordinate lock operations, water levels, and traffic schedules. This integration of human skill and technological oversight ensures that each transit is safe, timely, and precise. Unlike the early years of construction, where disease, landslides, and primitive equipment delayed progress, today the canal operates as a streamlined, high-tech waterway, capable of accommodating the largest vessels in global trade with remarkable reliability. In 2016, the Panama Canal underwent one of the most ambitious expansions in its history: the addition of new, larger locks to accommodate post-Panamax ships, vessels far bigger than the original Panamax dimensions. These new locks, equipped with rolling gates and water-saving basins, have more than doubled the canal's capacity and significantly reduced transit times for larger vessels. This expansion has had profound implications for global trade, allowing shipping companies to move greater quantities of goods more efficiently and reducing the cost of transportation across oceans. Ports around the world have adjusted to the new dimensions, and shipping routes have been redesigned to take advantage of the canal's enhanced capabilities. The expansion demonstrates Panama's foresight in maintaining the canal's relevance in an era of growing global trade and technological advancement. The canal's modern significance extends far beyond economics. It remains a strategic asset, influencing global maritime routes and naval planning. Countries that rely heavily on maritime trade, including the United States, China, Japan, and European nations, monitor canal operations closely, understanding that disruptions, whether from natural events, political instability, or security concerns, could have ripple effects across the global economy. For Panama, the canal is not just a source of revenue, it is a tool of diplomacy and influence, allowing the nation to engage with the world on matters of trade, infrastructure, and security. The careful management of tolls, schedules, and operations reflects Panama's commitment to balancing national interests with the needs of the global community. Panama's stewardship of the canal has also created opportunities for economic growth and development within the country. Revenues from tolls and operations have funded infrastructure projects, social programs, and investments in education and technology. The canal has become a centerpiece of Panama's identity, a symbol of national achievement that demonstrates the country's ability to manage one of the most complex and strategically important waterways in the world. Internationally, Panama's successful management has earned the nation respect and credibility, showcasing how careful planning, transparency, and technological expertise can ensure the smooth operation of critical infrastructure. Despite the modern efficiencies, the canal still faces challenges. Climate change, for instance, poses a significant risk to operations. Rising temperatures and shifts in rainfall patterns can affect water levels in Gatun Lake and other reservoirs that supply the locks. Droughts could reduce the canal's capacity, while extreme weather events could disrupt navigation and infrastructure. Canal authorities have implemented monitoring and mitigation strategies, but these environmental pressures highlight the continuing complexity of managing a waterway that interacts so closely with natural systems. Even in the 21st century, the balance between engineering, human management, and environmental conditions remains delicate, requiring vigilance, innovation, and adaptability. The canal also remains a focus of geopolitical attention. As global trade continues to expand and new shipping routes are explored, including the Arctic passages opening due to melting ice, the Panama Canal retains its position as a critical choke point. Nations dependent on maritime commerce watch canal operations closely, recognizing that access, efficiency, and reliability are vital to maintaining economic stability. Security concerns, including piracy, cyber threats, and regional political tensions, are continuously addressed to protect the canal's integrity. Its strategic relevance has evolved, but its influence has not diminished, reinforcing the idea that infrastructure of this magnitude carries both national and global consequences. Modern commerce through the canal is a testament to the scale and complexity of global supply chains. Containerized shipping, bulk carriers, tankers, and cruise ships all rely on its passage. The timing, coordination, and precision required for these transits reflect decades of accumulated knowledge, technological refinement, and operational discipline. Ships glide through locks that weigh hundreds of tons across lakes that were carved from forests and rivers, guided by systems that blend human judgment with advanced engineering. Every successful transit is a reminder that the Panama Canal remains a marvel of human capability, a place where history, technology, and commerce converge to shape the modern world. The Panama Canal today is also a symbol of balance between commerce and sovereignty, between technological innovation and environmental stewardship, and between national interest and global cooperation. Panama's management demonstrates that critical infrastructure can serve local, regional, and international needs simultaneously. The canal continues to be a hub of economic activity, a focal point of strategic planning, and a testament to human achievement. Its operation today reminds the world that even in an age of digital commerce, space-age technology, and advanced logistics, geography and engineering remain central to the movement of goods, people, and power across the globe. In essence, the Panama Canal today is both a living legacy and a forward-looking enterprise. It embodies the ambitions of those who dreamed it into existence, the labor of thousands who built it, and the vision of modern engineers who expanded and maintain it. It demonstrates the enduring interplay of engineering, politics, and global commerce, and it continues to define Panama's role on the world stage. The canal is no longer merely a shortcut for ships. It is a cornerstone of international trade, a symbol of national pride, and a reminder that human ingenuity, when guided by foresight and determination, can create infrastructure capable of shaping history for generations. The Panama Canal is more than a man-made waterway. It is a living testament to human ambition, ingenuity, and perseverance. Its creation transformed the course of global trade, reshaped geopolitical strategy, and demonstrated what can be achieved when vision is combined with determination. From the earliest French attempts to the American engineering triumph and the modern Panamanian management, the canal embodies a century-long story of challenges overcome, innovations realized, and human resilience tested against the forces of nature and politics alike. Its legacy reaches far beyond the banks of its locks and lakes, touching the worlds of commerce, diplomacy, engineering, and national identity. One of the most enduring lessons of the Panama Canal is the power of vision. The idea of cutting a passage through the Isthmus of Panama was once considered impossible. Generations of explorers, engineers, and politicians imagined the potential, but each faced obstacles that seemed insurmountable: disease, harsh climate, rugged terrain, political opposition, and technological limitations. Yet those who persisted transformed imagination into reality. The canal reminds us that audacious goals, when pursued with determination and planning, can lead to achievements that redefine human capability. It illustrates that vision alone is not enough. It must be paired with practical innovation, leadership, and coordinated effort to overcome the obstacles that inevitably arise. Engineering innovation is another cornerstone of the canal's legacy. The locks, dams, artificial lakes, and expanded channels represent decades of technical ingenuity. The ability to raise and lower ships hundreds of feet, manage complex water systems, and maintain operational efficiency over a century later is a testament to human creativity and precision. The 2016 expansion, which allowed post-Panamax vessels to transit, demonstrates that engineering solutions can evolve to meet the demands of a changing world. The canal has inspired countless infrastructure projects around the globe, setting benchmarks for scale, complexity, and innovation. From the design of massive locks to the management of artificial lakes and flood control systems, the Panama Canal stands as a reference point for engineers and planners worldwide, showing how ambition can be translated into practical, transformative solutions. The canal also offers profound lessons in leadership and management. Building and operating a project of this magnitude required visionaries who could coordinate tens of thousands of workers, navigate political challenges, and implement systems that balance safety, efficiency, and long-term sustainability. Figures like Theodore Roosevelt, John Stevens, and George Washington Goethals exemplify how leadership, combined with technical knowledge and organizational skill, can turn an impossible challenge into a historic success. Their legacy reminds us that transformative projects are as much about human coordination and strategic thinking as they are about machinery and concrete. Equally important is the canal's lesson in diplomacy and international relations. The story of the Panama Canal is intertwined with sovereignty, treaties, and global strategic interests. The United States' role in facilitating Panama's independence, the subsequent treaties, and the eventual transfer of control highlight the delicate balance between national ambition and respect for sovereignty. Today, Panama's management of the canal demonstrates how nations can exercise authority responsibly while serving global interests. The canal illustrates that critical infrastructure often carries geopolitical significance, and its history provides insights into negotiation, compromise, and the careful exercise of influence in international affairs. The canal's environmental impact and lessons in sustainability are also significant. Constructing Gatun Lake, managing water resources, and maintaining ecological balance required an understanding of natural systems and ongoing stewardship. Even in the modern era, climate change presents new challenges. Droughts, shifts in rainfall, and rising temperatures affect water levels and canal operations. The canal's adaptability and resilience underscore the importance of planning for environmental factors in large-scale engineering projects. It demonstrates that human ingenuity must work in concert with nature, respecting the limitations and opportunities presented by the environment. The Panama Canal's legacy is not only technical or political, but profoundly human. Thousands of workers from around the world contributed to its creation, enduring extreme heat, dangerous conditions, and disease. Their labor, skill, and perseverance are embedded in every lock, every dredge channel, and every navigable mile of the canal. The story of their sacrifice and achievement is a reminder that monumental projects are not just the product of leaders and engineers, they are the result of collective human effort. The canal honors the countless individuals who dared to confront the impossible and, in doing so, left a permanent mark on history. Beyond its practical and symbolic importance, the canal continues to shape the modern world. It facilitates global commerce, connecting economies, supporting international supply chains, and enabling the movement of goods that sustain modern life. It is also a strategic asset, influencing naval mobility and international trade policies. Every vessel that passes through its locks is a reminder of the ongoing relevance of this century-old engineering marvel. In a world where globalization and interconnectedness are paramount, the Panama Canal remains as vital today as it was when the first ship transited its locks in 1914. Ultimately, the Panama Canal teaches us that vision, innovation, and perseverance can overcome extraordinary challenges. It demonstrates the interplay between human ambition and natural forces, between national interests and global cooperation, and between technical mastery and strategic foresight. The canal stands as a reminder that infrastructure is not merely about functionality, it can shape economies, geopolitics, and human history itself. Its story inspires engineers, leaders, and dreamers alike, offering lessons in courage, planning, adaptability, and the enduring power of human determination. As we reflect on the Panama Canal, we see more than a waterway. We see a bridge across oceans, a monument to human achievement, and a symbol of the potential that arises when vision meets action. It is a project that redefined what was possible in engineering, diplomacy, and global trade. Its legacy continues to influence the world, shaping the flow of goods, the strategies of nations, and the aspirations of those who dare to dream big. The Panama Canal reminds us that history is made not just by ideas, but by the courage to bring them to life, and that even the most daunting challenges can yield lasting, transformative achievements. It is, in every sense, America's engineering miracle and humanity's enduring triumph over adversity.